Hi, good evening. This is the February 27th, 2025 meeting of the Needham Conservation Commission. I'm Dave Harrer, Conservation Commission Chair. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and via Zoom, and is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. Before we get started, I'd like to confirm the presence of members and staff. When I call your name, please respond. Sue,
Here.
Clary,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Bill,
Here.
Fred,
Here.
Paulina,
Here.
and Chair is here. Deb and Clay.
Here.
All right. All supporting materials have been provided to the commission members and are available on the commission website. Here are some ground rules for our meeting. I will open and introduce each hearing on the agenda and then introduce the applicant and/or their consultant to begin their presentation. After conclusion of the applicant's presentation, I will call on the staff and then each commission member to provide their comments or questions. Please wait until your name is called. After comments and questions from the staff and commission, I will solicit comments from the public. Please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. Please mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. And finally, each vote taken during this meeting will be conducted by roll call. So, since we have a short agenda today, first we have some minutes from, was it last week?
February 13th.
February 13th. Anybody have any comments, or if not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I did send in a couple things.
Yeah. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
All right, let's vote. Fred,
Aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Paulina,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, anything on enforcement, Deb?
Not currently.
Okay, good. So we had two hearings that we continued, and now we have some draft orders of conditions. So let's do the first one, 914th Charles River Street, DEP file 234-944. I don't think there was anything left open on this.
No. Clay, did I email it to you?
Well, let's close the hearing if there's no.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that he got it.
Yeah, I got it. You sent an email with.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him to put it up on the
Okay.
screen.
So kind of a motion to close the hearing for 914th Charles River Street.
Motion to close.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Fred,
Aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Paulina,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, do you want to go over the order of conditions, or should we close the other hearing first?
We might as well finish up this one.
Okay,
All right, so it's a pretty simple project. The town is trying to come up with a redundant well at the Charles River well field. So they came to us for a permit to do exploratory drilling. They had 3 locations they went over with us. The property is located in bordering land subject to flooding. But it's a very minimal disturbance and it's temporary, so they don't need to provide any compensatory storage for that. The the access to reach the proposed wells is over existing fire roads, which some of them exist within our 25 and 50-foot buffer zones. They're not gonna be doing any work or anything on them. They're simply using them for access. So there really is minimal work in our jurisdiction. The project is a limited project as it is a utility. And I know that they are hoping to start this project up. I'm guessing maybe the beginning of the week. So they have proposed 3 locations. It's my understanding if the first location shows promise, that they won't need to explore the other 2 locations.
Bye, Mama.
So they did ask for a waiver for strict compliance, for work in bordering land subject to flooding, the 25 and 50-foot buffer zones. Special conditions, there weren't really anything that I could think of beyond what they proposed with erosion controls. As far as the certificate of compliance request, I don't know if there's any kind of as-built plan we would require. As this is just, well testing. So I highlighted that for discussion. If there's anything else you want them to submit besides the COC form when they close this out.
Anybody have any comments?
No
So do we just want
comments.
them to submit the form?
Yeah, I
Yep,
think that
yep.
would be sufficient, I think.
Okay, because the only plan they gave us was just a GIS map with the locations, so.
Yeah,
Um,
if they decide to put in a permanent well, there'd be
They're gonna come back to us,
another
right?
application.
Okay, so you do need to vote for waivers for work in
The
bordering
25,
land subject to flooding and the 2 buffer zones when you do
the
vote.
25-foot buffer zone.
And the 50
And the
foot 'cause it's
50.
forested.
All right, can we do that?
Motion to, go
We can do
ahead,
all
Dave.
3 at once, right?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, okay, can I have a motion to issue a waiver for work in the 25-foot no disturb zone, the 50-foot buffer zone, and the bordering lands subject to flooding?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Paulina,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Is there a fee waiver associated with that, or the town?
It's a town project, so
Okay.
there's no filing fee.
All right, so if there's no other comment on the order of conditions, could we have a motion to issue order of conditions for 914 Charles River Street?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Paulina,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay,
All right.
thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next project is 40 Highland Avenue and 1416 Riverside Drive, DEP file 234-945. I believe we covered everything at our last meeting, and if there's any further comment, speak up. Otherwise, could I have a motion to close the hearing for 40 Highland Avenue?
Motion to close the hearing. Second.
All right, was that the second?
Yes.
No, it's okay, let's vote. Paulina,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Okay, now I believe, Deb, you drafted up the order of conditions.
Right. So in the findings, I went over the site history, because they had filed, an ANRAD back in 2020. And as part of that, they wanted the commission to approve the area depicted on their plan, with the limit of previously developed and degraded riverfront area. So I just kind of added that to the findings. And just talked about the evidence that was used to make that determination. So went over the existing conditions. As you know from the presentation, all of the work is in the outer 200-foot riverfront area. So our local bylaw and regulations don't pertain to the project. So the project will be a residential subdivision. The existing lots will be made into 3 building lots. 2 of them will contain duplexes, and the third will continue with its existing use, which is an automotive repair facility. So they did include mitigation measures to meet the regulatory requirements. They proposed a stormwater system. They're going to be removing the previously dumped materials that are causing the property to be degraded. And they're also putting in native plantings as part of their project. So it was reviewed under 310 CMR 10.585, as the project entails work to redevelop a previously developed riverfront area. They just needed to prove that they were, that the work was going to improve existing conditions. So as I mentioned, removing the dumped materials and the plantings, improve the conditions. The stormwater management, all the proposed work will be located further away from the river than existing previously disturbed areas. There will be no increase in degraded area. And the native plantings and removal of the dump material will improve the existing conditions in the riverfront area. So as far as special conditions, I didn't have too many. I did highlight in the event that dewatering is necessary, that they should give us a dewatering plan. Since none of the work is in our jurisdiction and you know, their planting plan, their mitigation, I don't know if we could really ask them to do a 2-year monitoring on that since it's not under us. So I did not include that requirement. So that's all I had, unless anybody had any other special conditions they thought applied.
All right, thanks, Deb. Any comment from commissioners?
Should, so we don't have jurisdiction under the state law to require monitoring?
We don't under our bylaw.
No, but
Yes,
under
do you
the-
have an
under the
opinion?
state-
Is Matt
under the-
Verrill there? I can't see if he's here.
Yeah, I see it. Matt's
I'm
here.
here.
Okay, Matt, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the ones that are implementing the Wetlands Protection Act, so if you wanted to require monitoring, I don't think that would be out of bounds by any means.
Okay. So how many plantings were you guys putting in? Do you know offhand?
Um,
as mitigation?
I don't know the exact number of plantings, but it was about 10,000 square feet of either lawn or landscape was gonna be put in.
Okay,
And it's pretty
Alright.
clearly defined on the plan, what's
Yeah.
lawn and what's either plantings or sort of non-lawn areas.
yeah, I just didn't want to put them on, having to monitor areas that are just landscaping and not actual mitigation plantings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we really treated. The plantings that are within the riverfront area really are gonna serve two purposes. Partially is to meet the requirements for an improvement, that's why we chose the types of plantings we did. But it is also acting as a screen to the trail there.
Yeah.
And we're hopeful that it will look attractive to the future owners as well.
Okay,
And
so
then the
just that
plantings-
area in itself.
Yeah, and then the plantings that are outside the buffer zone that were required by planning board that we discussed a little bit last time.
Mm-hmm.
Those really serve a separate function and are not in riverfront area, and I would say there's, I don't know if the planning board has a requirement. To monitor those, but that's really outside jurisdiction of the Concom.
Okay. All right, so assuming the commission would like me to add that to your monitoring.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially if the mortality rate wasn't considered.
Fred, you had your hand up here?
I had my hand up before because I was trying to remember the site and there wasn't any concern about the steepness of the slope going toward the river, was there? No. Okay, all right, good. Never mind then.
Clary, you had a comment?
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yes, and just to understand if the mortality rate of the plantings was considered and that should be part of the monitoring
It is.
approach?
Yep,
Okay, good.
Yeah,
we
you
have a
yeah,
75% survival rate.
yeah,
Okay.
the standard
Okay.
blurb you put in there. All right, any other comments? Okay, if not, could I have a motion to issue the order of conditions for 40 Highland Avenue?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, let's vote. Fred,
Aye.
Sue,
aye.
Clary,
Aye.
Paulina,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right, thanks, Matt. Good
Matt,
luck.
how do you want me to get the order to you?
The owner, Stephen Wahlberg will be by to pick it up.
So
Either-
let him know when it's ready to pick up.
Yeah, just let him know when it's ready and he'll swing by.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Take care.
Care.
Okay, that concludes our regular business. I got a few things I'd like to mention. And of course, I understand this is Clay's last meeting with the commission, so we gotta have a drink
Yeah, I know, huh?
or a virtual drink. But I guess you'll be sorely missed by Deb, not at least. But I think the rest of us, really appreciated your input and counsel, over the several years I've been on the commission. I've learned a lot from you. And
I don't know what's gonna happen when Sue MacArthur is looking for riverfront area information.
yeah, maybe can we bring him on as a consultant?
I know, we're gonna have to, because he's the only one that knows about it.
Special consultant.
You got it, Deb.
Thanks, Clay.
You can bring me on for the mundane. You've got those regs lock and seal.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Well, I'm gonna have to join your meetings now and just be in the audience, just to be creepy.
I'll ask you if there's any hands in the audience periodically.
Oh, are you hybrid?
No.
Or you're just in person?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Strictly in
gonna really
person.
be stalking when I have to drive up there. Okay, duly noted.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the with the state, whether they extend the issues. And I haven't heard anything from anybody, so your guess is as good as mine, but
Mm.
I thought the memo was pretty clear about
The town's memo.
the town's requirements, but I think we all should be thinking about what we would like to see. We already know what Sue's.
I know.
But no, it's worth thinking about. And I would say one thing that that I see is the town's requirement basically would require the commissioners to be in person unless there was some acceptable excuse or whatever. But we'd have a choice about the applicants and the public. So that's something to think about. See, Polina, you had a comment?
That was one of my questions, was if we go in person, are we requiring the applicants to also come and present in person, or are they going to be hybrid and we're all together looking
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
kind
screen?
The
My
town will
understanding
make
is-
us be hybrid and
Yeah,
they'll
but
have a
my
choice.
understanding is that's our choice, that we could choose 100% in-person option.
No, I think we have to do hybrid.
If you read the memo, that's not what it says.
Yeah, but that's what they mean.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
maybe we could further truth that out, but I mean, I can personally, I don't have a problem with, in-person meeting. This other committee that I'm on, the CPC, Community Preservation Commission, that meets in person. The applicants usually come in person, but I can understand like some consultants might have trouble traveling or, being a consultant myself, I know that it's a lot easier to just pop on Zoom. So we'll have to think about that.
Mhm.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
Would it be,
Speaking of the CPC, there's a public hearing coming up on March 12th at 7 at the PSAP building. So far I've received nothing but positive comments on our project. But we public hearing on the 12th, and then a week later on the 19th, the CPC will vote on that, and it looks favorable, and then it goes to town meeting for vote. So if anybody wants to come to a meeting or get on Zoom and make a positive comment, that'd be great. Once that gets moving, then the next step would be to try to assemble a group of volunteers to help make this happen.
So that's a Wednesday, March 12th.
Yep.
March 12th
Yeah, March 12th,
at 7.
7 p.m. There's a Zoom, there's a Zoom call in, and
and would it be possible to do a vote again with our commission for in-person versus total Zoom? I mean, in-person is going to be hybrid anyway. Actually, I have another question. With the meetings that go, I know they're required hybrid. Is there a town employee that sets it up, Deb or Dave?
That sets up what?
The hybrid situation for an
Gonna be
in-person.
me.
So do you get any help from anyone else?
I don't know.
well, I can tell you that on the CPC meeting that I attend and other meetings I've attended, there's been an administrator that helps with the Zoom. So I don't know if that could be arranged for you, Deb, but I would say let's wait and see what the state does, and then as far as having a vote, I think we all should think about what we want to do, and then we can discuss it. And if we all agree, then we'll go in that direction. And if that takes a vote, fine. But maybe we could do it without a vote. We'll see.
It sounds like with the state, they're gonna keep it in that permanent condition.
Most likely.
Yeah, so it probably doesn't matter at what point in time we vote.
Well, I would prefer we wait to get some clarity for what, what the state is gonna do, so we know what our options are. And
Yeah.
And then we can vote.
With the stormwater meeting, in-person meeting, hybrid meeting, it looks like someone has it set up beforehand, right, Deb?
Well, Kim facilitates that committee.
But
I've,
she
I've,
doesn't- oh,
I've been told by town management that I'll be taking over everything.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
And what about a Zoom meeting? Which is more difficult for you?
They're both the same.
We'll see.
It's the same technology. The town has this little device called the OWL that, throws multiple pictures of the in-person attendees. That's
Right.
that's the only difference. So a couple other things. I just wanted to double check that at our next meeting, March 13th, we're going to have a hearing on the regulation update. Is that
Yeah, I'm gonna put the ad in tomorrow.
okay? And I think can you post the latest revision of the regulation on on the site website? Because I think a previous revision, although there's not a lot of difference in the revisions.
Yep. Sorry. Yes, I can do that.
All right. Last thing I wanted to mention is, and I talked to you about this, Deb. I got a contact from the Rotary Club, and sometime in May they have open weekend, and they want to do a project. And I suggested there's another project out at Ridge Hill that they could do, and I put together a little description, and there's like two different approaches that we could take. This is where the Esker Trail goes down to the boardwalk, to the swamp
Very
trail.
steep.
Oh, yes, yes,
I think we got to change the name of the swamp trail though. That's a separate.
yeah.
I got a couple of pictures I'd like to show you, and I'd just like to get some input from the commission as far as how we want to approach that. I sent that to you earlier, Deb, but if I could share my screen, I'll put it up.
Clary, did you get the email about the tree committee
I
meeting?
did. We have a
Okay.
meeting next Wednesday in
Yeah,
person,
I've
by the
been-
way.
Keeping an eye on it for you and asking around, so.
It's Thursday, I believe, Clary.
Is it Thursday? I put it on my calendar. I know it's next week on the 7th. Let me see. I think it's this.
It's March 6th at
Yep.
6:30.
You
Okay,
got it.
good.
First meeting.
Wanted to make sure you knew.
6:30. Yes, thank you.
You see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that
so
a 3-to-1 slope, Dave? Is it
it's
a
a
3-to-1?
28%. It's 28%. Yeah, so it's a little less than 3-to-1. Yeah, it is steep and it's kind of rough, and also I don't know if you can see on a picture, there's pipes sticking up from the old approach, and so Fred and I went out there like last year, I think. You remember, Fred?
I remember, yeah.
We did some measurements, so it's like it drops about 8 feet or 28 feet horizontal distance. And
Yeah.
so the two approaches that are typical here are, one is check steps, which is sort of what they did before. That's the simplest and also the less expensive. Just lay some timbers, perpendicular to the fault line, anchor them. The projects that I've been doing lately, we anchor them with rebar, pounded through the check steps. And the steps are spaced so that you're basically cutting half the slope. So you'd have a step up, and then between the steps, you'd have maybe like a 14% slope, and then a step up again and go to another slope. So the thing's designed to ease the you know, the rough hike up the slope, because 28% is too steep for casual hiking, especially with loose gravel and whatever. And so that's the simplest, doesn't require any cutting or anything. Then the next approach, which is shown down below, and this is more regular steps. This would have, you know, if we use 4x6 landscape timbers, maybe 4 feet wide, then each step would be about 5.5 inches. And over the 28-foot run, the tread, you know, the width of the step would be about 22 inches or 20 inches. So that would require about twice as many steps, and you'd have to cut the boards or the lumber timbers, whatever you call them, and still use the rebar to stabilize it. So I'm estimating the regular check steps would be about $500. The what I call the trail steps would be a little more expensive. So
Would either of them handle the stormwater
yeah, the
flows down
erosion,
there?
yeah, each would mitigate erosion to some extent. Although there's a particular problem there in the esker, which is, you know, a lot of the esker is bare. And, you know, the check steps would be about 8 feet, whereas these are about 4 feet. So this would cover more area, but you would still have potentially erosion where there was no steps. But it seems to me that most of the slope on the esker is stable, even if it doesn't have any vegetation. But when people walk on it, you start, you know, loosening up the gravel material, and you know, it promotes erosion. Because if you go there now, you see at the base of the slope, you know, right where the boardwalk starts, there's a lot of material that's built up. So I would say, you know, for the purpose of, you know, just trying to improve the trail and to reduce erosion on the trail itself, that, you know, either one would be an improvement. The existing condition I see as hazardous,
Yeah.
and you know, I think it should be fixed. So, you know, we did plan on doing some work like this with this project that we have pending with the CPC. However, the Rotary Club is a good crew of people. We worked with them when we did that other bridge there in the northern end of Ridge Hill, and that was pretty successful. And a couple of the guys have a lot of tools and a truck, and, you know, really interested in helping. So if we can get them on board, this would be a good improvement. This work is in the 25-foot zone because at the base of the esker is a wetland. So I see some hands up. Fred, I think you were first.
So I think the check steps would be similar to what was put in before,
Right.
and would not be as good in preventing erosion as the fully boxed in steps would be.
Well,
So-
remember that the check steps, at least in what I'm describing, is 8 feet wide, whereas the trail
Yes.
steps are only 4 feet wide. So the erosion control for the check steps would be twice as much.
It would be twice as wide. However, you'd still be, whereas the other steps have a tread that is fairly level, the check steps have soil between the treads that is on an incline and would still be subject to erosion, I think, both from feet and from water.
Theoretically, but I can tell you just from my experience with trail design that
You think it would do an adequate job?
yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
you're right, there would be some differences. And I don't, just from a logistic point of view, I can't see making trail steps wider than 4 feet. In fact,
right.
we've done some that were like 3 feet, but anyway, Polina, you had a question or comment?
I did. I was just wondering the longevity of each of those, because I think it would be, it would be worthwhile knowing which one lasts longer and kind of making a decision that way. And
Yeah.
I've put in check steps before, and they seem, they seem to work well and last a while, but I haven't followed through many, like a decade later. So
Yeah, this, either one would be constructed with pressure treated wood. So the current stuff you can get, ground contact pressure treated wood will probably last 20 years. Especially in a environment like this where it's free draining. In other words, the substrate is gravel. I don't know what material was used for these. I don't know when those were put in. They are somewhat deteriorated, but I think there was other issues with this, especially the way they stabilize them. Looked like they used a pipe that they drove in the ground that these just rested on. But we've had good luck with rebar.
yeah, I kind of like the idea of check steps, just because when I'm looking at these trail steps, maybe they'll be different, but I have a feeling that the wood chips that are put in within the little trail steps will either get washed away or kicked out when people are walking, and then you'll just have almost like
Yeah,
little depressions. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the only picture I could find. I would not propose putting in wood chips. In fact, the material, there's plenty of material surrounding this that would, and also if you did something like this, you'd have to cut in a little bit, and so there'd be plenty of material to fill in. So it would be gravel. It would be the natural gravel that's part of the esker that would be in there. But I think one problem that I've seen with steps is people don't like steps. They tend to bypass steps. So on the other hand, it's it's like a 5.5 inches. That's pretty close to what a standard stair step is. And for older people, that's nice. I know some of the check steps that we put in had 8-foot 8x8 timbers, and then the slope was steeper, which required maybe like a 12-inch step. And that's really a lot going up a slope. And in one case, we went in and retrofitted steps like this behind the timbers to make it easier for people to walk. But, again, I think with this short distance and, with, let's say, 8 or 9 of these versus double these, that either one would be adequate. Larry, you had a comment?
Is it my turn?
Yeah. Yep, you got your hand up.
So I just wanted to say 2 things. When you reach the end of that last check step there, on the beginning of the platform, there's a hole that's about maybe 6 inches wide. It's covered now with gravel, but it's gotten worse, and it was as a result of the big tree trunk that fell a few months ago. I personally go through here many times, and I have seen a lot of people almost fall on these steps, usually people with the walking sticks. I personally believe that this particular trail, it's a small loop, and you will see a lot of elderly people take this particular trail because it's easy. So I personally believe that the trail steps are the way to go here. I do believe, like Paulina, maybe the trail steps have longer longevity. Possibly, I don't know, Dave, what your experience is.
I'm not that old, man.
Yeah, so
No, I'm just kidding.
so I am of the opinion that the trail steps will be much easier on a lot of the folks that use this particular trail, because the boardwalk is such a beautiful walk, even in the winter. And it's an easy walk for a lot of the folks. So I would like to see them go through there much more often. And I see that the check steps become difficult, especially when they erode, when they use the sticks.
Yep.
The poles, sorry, the walking.
Yep, yep.
So those
and
are
I-
the two things. But I'm easy either way.
No, I don't disagree with anything anybody said. And I kind of like the trail steps too. I wish that like 8-inch landscape timbers were more readily available, because that would make about a 7.5-inch step, and you could use less steps. But from looking around, it's hard to get the 8-foot or 8-inch 6x8 or 8x8 timbers, and they're a lot harder to work with as well. So,
And
here-
also those folks are really good with wood, so they'll be able to do this in a heartbeat. Like,
yeah,
this
it's like
is easy work. It's like an afternoon.
yeah, that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
all right, any other thoughts? All right. I appreciate your input. I guess if we had to pick something now, who would be in favor of the trail steps?
I'd like to-
And who would be in favor of the check steps?
I like the check steps.
All right. Sounds like the trail steps is the more favored option. I'm going to get some input from the Rotary guys too. But they tried to deviate from the bridge project, and I had to lay down the engineer card. But I think the bridge project turned out pretty well too. So
Yeah, it was perfect. I
Yeah,
do
and it-
believe the hole in the boardwalk it's a problem because
Maybe they could address that at the same time.
I
Well-
was hoping, yeah, maybe.
yeah, there's a bunch of projects that I think are necessary at Rich Hill and at some of the other spots. And part of the money in this project we're trying to get approval for addresses that. So,
Good.
in fact, this project, we were going to address that in this project, but the fact that the Rotary guys, said they had an open volunteer day, and given their experience, I thought, this was probably the most important thing to get done. So,
Yeah.
That's a very nice offer.
yeah.
And it's an important one because if somebody falls there, it's not going to be an easy fall.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Hmm.
I have trouble getting up there, yeah. Of course, I'm elderly.
Mm.
All right, well, I thank you for your input.
Sounds great. I have a couple other questions.
Sure.
Can I just back up? The first question is, with the revised regulations, there's going to be a public hearing at our next meeting. There's one public hearing, and then do they go off to the Board of Selectmen?
No,
What's the? So then what happens after the public hearing?
we vote to adopt the regulations.
Okay, so,
Or depending on the input we get, we might get some input and we might decide to make a change or whatever.
okay, so once the commission votes on it, it's a done deal. Or does the select board have to approve it?
No,
No,
Okay.
that's just us.
Then the second question has to deal with just a kind of a little question. Deb knows about this. A little history behind the Wellesley Conservation Land Trust taking over some Needham present holdings, but also going for some of Needham's conservation restrictions. And I just want to know how that possibly can happen and or why it's happening.
So as I mentioned, I talked with the head of the Needham Land Trust over a month ago, when I had been talking about the Cartwright Road property and hoping we were going to be able to get that. And she had told me that there's so few properties that they're monitoring in Needham that they were thinking of disbanding and having the town ask the Wellesley Land Trust if they could take over the monitoring of our, properties. So I assume that that is what is happening.
can I insert something here?
Sure.
The Needham Land Trust was formed for the purpose of looking and monitoring two properties that the Community Preservation Council appropriated money to buy, because the rules of the Community Preservation Act are that there has to be a third party involved to have the entrust with the property, and so that was the reason why the Needham Land Trust was formed. And as far as I know, they don't have a source of money, and they haven't gotten involved in any other projects. The CPC currently has a couple $1 million solely in an account in reserve to purchase open space. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything that's real hot right now, but there's a possibility that would be.
But my question is how why would the town of Needham want Wellesley to come in and do takeovers of Needham, some Needham conservation restrictions, and those Needham conservation restrictions are under, I assume, are under the conservation department within the town. Is that correct? Legally?
Legally, I believe they're owned by the town, and there's a trust arrangement with this Needham Conservation Trust, because that's a requirement of the CPC, and it could be a requirement of other organizations as well. There's got to be an independent organization that has some kind of trust responsibility. I don't know the legal details of it, but
so the Conservation Commission, we are not connected to that. That's
not the trust. No, it's a legal thing. I think one of the properties involved was the one, I forget the name of it, the Volante, near the Volante.
Carol Brewster.
Yeah, Carol Brewster.
Yeah, every year the trust sends me a report on, how that property is doing and recommendations and stuff.
Yeah, but that's under the control of the Conservation Commission, with regard to the town.
Mm-hmm.
And
what I find interesting is that the Cartwright Road property that I've been trying to get, that is going to the Wellesley Land Trust.
How is that happening? We don't have to discuss it now, but
yeah,
I don't understand why Needham is giving up that land to Wellesley.
It's not Needham. It's an independent organization, independent trust. It's not the town of Needham.
Yeah, but it's a different
story. It's just called the Wellesley Land Trust, right? I mean, it doesn't prevent them from.
With regard to that piece of property that you're talking in, it's like in the north end of Ridge Hill along Cartwright.
Right.
It's the owner that chooses what to do with the property, not Needham. Okay, and the owner, for reasons that I don't you could talk to Deb about, because she has the background, but
So-
the owner wants the Wellesley Trust to, have the land and not Needham.
Okay, so this is all private land under
Yeah,
the land.
Yes,
It's all, but don't they sign an agreement with the conservation restriction? Isn't there a legal agreement signed with the Conservation Commission? I don't,
there's a, a deed restriction that would be placed on the land, and there's also a trust agreement
Yeah.
with a third party.
The beneficiary of the trust is not the Conservation Commission, it's the land trust, right, Dave?
Yeah.
so it's
But
private land.
at the end of the day, I think what's important is the land doesn't get developed. I think with this property up in, on Cartwright Road, I think it's unfortunate that it's going the way it's going. But on the other hand, the land's gonna be not developed. And I would hope that we could have some discussion with the town of Wellesley, so maybe we could expand some trails or whatever, so that even though different people might control the land, at the end of the day, that there is, a common, conservation area.
I just have one more question and then I'll stop. What is enticing private landowners to go with the Wellesley Conservation Trust versus the Needham Land Trust?
That's something that I think you should talk to Deb about.
yeah.
one-on-one.
Give me a call, Sue. I'll talk to you about it.
Thank Deb.
Sure.
Fred, you had your hand up?
No question.
Well, keep your eye out for land. I mean, because the conservation or the CPC does have some money to buy. And
Yeah, we're finally sending our letter over to the Foster property people. And that is one of the options that we're giving them. So. we'll see.
I was going to ask about that. So, yeah. So we don't know yet whether the new Foster property owners are going to let us have an easement there to get down to the river.
So essentially, I've worked with town council to draft a letter to send to the lawyer and the people that I know over there. That's basically giving different options for us to be able to maintain our trail access. So that should be going out to them in the next couple days. And then we'll see
Great.
where that goes, but I've been working on that, so.
yeah, the worst case scenario, we could just relocate the trail. But it's hard to, I'll tell you, anybody that's down there, and I know you have, and I know Reed has been down there. It's hard to get to the river on the property that's part of Ridge Hill, but you can get.
It is.
But that's a separate discussion.
Especially hard to get down there without getting any ticks on you.
Right,
Mm.
well.
True.
All right, anything else?
Anything from Clay?
Anything from what?
From Clay?
Oh, words of wisdom here?
Remember Clay?
Cheers.
It's been a pleasure working with you all. I know I'm leaving Needham in good hands, so keep up the good work, and I will miss all of you.
Well, I'll miss you, Clay.
So where are
Yeah.
you going, Clay? I'm sorry, I don't know anything.
So
Go ahead.
He's been gone for a while.
yeah, so I left Needham, and I'm now the agent in West Newbury. But I've
Oh,
been along
wonderful.
to assist the virtual meetings here in the interim, since Deb is without the support there in the office. But I believe they're now ending that support. So
Oh, well, congratulations. I love West Newbury.
It's a nice little town, very small
Love
compared
it.
to Needham.
Love it, love it, love it. So much open space.
A lot of agricultural land too.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Good luck. That's
you.
wonderful.
I know. To miss you.
Thanks for all you did for us, Clay.
Yeah. We'll be in touch.
Clay,
Some of
when
us
you-
we'll see you at MACC on Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
When's your
Who's
birthday?
going? What's that, Sue?
When's your birthday?
June.
June what?
June 22nd.
No way. I'm 28.
Oh, yeah?
You're a
Okay.
Cancer.
Week apart there.
Well, maybe we
right.
can have lunch on Saturday.
think
I already
we-
have them on Saturday for lunch.
Okay.
The more the merrier.
I'm gonna
How
be
many-
there for the day, so
How many
Well,
are
the
going
end
to
of the day, they have drinks. So maybe we should meet for drinks at the end of the day.
how many are going to the conference? One.
Paulina, I'm going. And I'm taking the new work vehicle.
Congratulations. That's
Put those
awesome.
miles on that.
So three. Three. Fred, Paulina, Debbie, and then Clay will be there.
Yep.
I remember I went to the one pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
right before lockdown.
Yeah, me
800 people
too.
were-
Me too.
Yeah.
That was the last one I went to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it looks
Yeah.
like it's gonna be nice weather. So
Yeah.
that's great. Enjoy the Saturday. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Well,
Mark.
thank you, Clay.
Thanks, Clay.
Much appreciated.
Thanks,
great
Clay.
working with everybody.
All right.
You've been so good.
And this is
to
just
us.
till you come back, which is gonna be the funny part.
Yeah,
He's
Good.
gonna
in 2
apply
weeks,
for the
right?
job that I'm gonna be circulating soon. It'll be good.
All right,
Thanks,
so
Clay.
Bye.
we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
What if I say no, then will we stay like this forever?
You don't vote. You don't vote. You
Oh,
don't get
I
a
can't
vote. You don't get a vote. However, we could close the meeting and keep chatting,
All right.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks,
Have a good night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Good
Have a
luck.
good weekend.
Bye.